we heard a lot about this kid, and it seemed like a very exciting signing, obviously, for when he joins Manchester United.
Yeah, I'll be very clear in saying I'm not saying he is as good as him.
Yeah.
But he was almost like the Haaland of academy football last season.
Okay, so you're not saying, obviously, you're not saying he's as good as Haaland.
Definitely not.
What you're saying is he's probably a little bit better.
Yes.
Right. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Academy Review. Joining me for the second week running, part of our regular show, is Finn from Academy Scoop. How are we doing?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You made your debut on the channel last week. Went down a storm, lots of positive comments, people enjoying it, people liking what you're doing.
Yeah, it was really lovely to read. I think it got a great reception.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are missing Dave Pritt, but he's here in spirit.
A lot of those comments saying they were missing Dave Pritt were by Dave Pritt. In fact, when I say a lot of those comments, there was 2 comments, and they were both by Dave Pritt. But Dave will be back on the channel. But yeah, it's going to be me and you doing the Academy Review moving forward. And we're going to start off, right, we'll talk about the under-18s game, the under-21s game. Then this is going to be a little bit different this week, because we're going to talk about the young players that Manchester United have signed this summer. Because we've brought in a few youngsters, so you're going to get into that. Tell us a little bit about them and the thinking behind signing them. So we'll start off with the under-18s. What can you tell us about their game this week?
So starting with a win, it's always good to see.
It's nice.
Adam Lawrence's Reds continue their streak. So yeah, it was another 4-0 victory against Middlesbrough. They were at Carrington, and it's kind of just what we've become accustomed to from this side. So we had Gabriel Biancheri with another brace. He's on fire this season. I think it's something like 9 goals now in the 5 or 6 games they've played. So he's in red hot form at the moment. Obviously, no MUTV coverage again. Which is,
come on, MUTV.
It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. So I can't go into a lot of detail. I can only go off what I've been told. But I'm told that it was another really dominant display. And yeah, so they're 5 in 5 now. Second in the league, but with a game in hand, 1 point off Derby County, who actually look like possibly the team to beat, really.
Yeah.
We've already played City, Liverpool, and Newcastle, who are some pretty big hitters in the league. Yeah. Dispatched of them with no real issues. So, definitely carrying some great momentum and kind of continuing on from what they were up to last season. So yeah, it's a great start and another victory. So that's always good.
This is what I've missed about Academy Review, When the first team disappoint or we have a result that's not great, you come on the Academy Review and you get a bit of positivity.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? We hear about wins and goals and title challenges and dispatching Liverpool. And winning games.
Yeah.
It's all good to hear. But it's not all plain sailing, is it? The under-21s didn't have quite as positive a weekend.
Yeah, so they hosted City, unfortunately, at Carrington again. Both games at Carrington this week, Lee Sports Village. And yeah, it started all right, but United conceded just before half-time. So, a bit of a dampener going into half-time. You never want that going into the break. In the second half, Ethan Wheatley got the equaliser, a bit of compensation. And it's good to see him kind of remaining amongst the goals while he's in and out of first-team action, because you always worry about players maybe stagnating if they're kind of in that limbo between the first team and the academy. So it's good to see him, continuing on scoring. But in the end, City added a further 2 goals and it ended 3-1. Pretty unfortunate loss, to be honest.
Typical. Yeah. Do you know what? It doesn't matter anyway. No one cares what City do anymore.
No one cares, and they're cheaters.
Yeah, exactly. We all know why they win football matches at any level.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you something quickly, Finn? What have you made of these latest reports? Because there was some rumours that in an ideal world we were going to have Old Trafford become an academy stadium, and then we were going to build a new stadium next to it for the first team, and we'd make Old Trafford, what is the Old Trafford now, a sort of smaller capacity. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Yeah, it looks like they shut down that.
How keen would you be to see a designated stadium for the academy? Because you mentioned there we're playing at Carrington, you're playing at Lee Sports Village. We've all been up there. It's a bit of a trek and it's not ideal.
It's not great.
No. For me, Manchester United should have a stadium for all the academy. Do you think that's something
and not just the academy, but the women's team as well?
Yeah, of course. Good point.
I think they both thoroughly deserve a real kind of high-end stadium suited to the kind of capacity that they'd get. I think it's sad to see that in the modern era they still get forced to play at a stadium which isn't even United's, down at Leigh Sports Village. There's no train up to it. It's not ideal really, and it doesn't do them justice because they play amazing football, both the academy sides and the women's team. And I think they deserve kind of I'd say it's a luxury, but they deserve to be able to play at a nice stadium that's nearby to Old Trafford. City have their Etihad campus, and they've got an academy and women's stadium which is kind of up to scratch and up with the times. I think it's important that United match that, and I think they will. I think it's among the plans for a new stadium to be built for those sides. So yeah, I think they shut down the talks of it being a kind of renovated Old Trafford job. I think now they're just going to knock it all down, aren't they?
Yeah, it does look like that. I used to get, when I see the press conferences at that City Academy Stadium where their media centre is, it used to wind me up, just sort of sitting there looking out the window, seeing they've got this little stadium for the academy, which seems ideal. And Manchester United was still, I used to take my kids to Leigh Sports Village, and it was a bit of a trek. Let's talk about some of the players we've brought in now over the summer, because we've had a few young players join in. There's a lot of excitement around some of these players. Who do you want to start with, and what can you tell us about him?
I think we can start with James Overy.
Yep.
So he is a right back from Australia actually. He's 17 years old, and he's just come from Perth Glory, and he was kind of in and around their first team setup kind of late into last season. He had interest from, I know, West Ham were big on him, and there was quite a lot of competition for his signature, but United got it done. He's a really, really kind of archetypal. Have I pronounced that right?
Archetypal, yeah.
That's the one. A really modern kind of attacking fullback. Loves to bomb up the wing and really get involved in the final third. So, fits in with what's expected of a modern day fullback. I think it's another exciting signing. He's going to be eased in quite gradually, I think, because he's coming up to fitness. He hasn't played any matches over the summer, so I think that might take a few more weeks for him to really get into the swing of things. But yeah, I think it's a great signing, and definitely look forward to watching him for the sides. Yeah.
So you reckon in a few years' time it'll be Harry Amass and James Overy down bombing forward on the overlap, bringing in title number. Absolutely. What will be then title number 25 by that time?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say.
I think very fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else do you want to chat to us about?
Yeah, so we've got Samuel Lusail, who came in from Crystal Palace, another player that a lot of the Premier League sides were after. There was interest from Arsenal. I know that was one of the big ones, and also City were quite interested in him. So United have done well again to bring in another highly rated winger. He's right-footed, but so he's kind of more natural on the left, kind of cutting in, but he can play anywhere across that line, through the middle, on the right. He's very quick, very skillful, and I haven't watched a ton of him, but I've been told that he's got a lot of end product. So he chips in with goals and assists, specifically in chance creation for his teammates. Quite like a creative winger, and he's a strong passer. Yeah. So I think he's another that will slot in nicely with the under-18s. But as with the majority of these signings, I think the club are going to ease them in really gradually, make sure that they've got time to adjust and kind of get up to the fitness levels required. So really exciting signing. It's
good to see this as well, because when you mentioned teams like Arsenal, they've obviously got a good academy, and they have this good reputation of giving youngsters a chance. Yeah. We've seen that the first team, you've got quite a few youngsters that have broken through there. City, who, although they don't always give young players a chance, even though they bang on about like they do because of Phil Foden, but they do have an academy that's well spoken about and well thought of. So it's good that when players are making the decisions, or when families are making the decisions on where to take their kids to, United have sort of are still up there with the best teams and are getting in there. I
think recently we're seeing a bit of a shift. I think within the industry now, United are viewed as kind of on par with Chelsea and City in terms of the recruitment aspects of things. They're getting more and more competitive, and a lot of that, Ineos is getting a lot of the credit for these young players that are being brought in. Yeah, and they do deserve some of it because they're making the deals possible. They're kind of facilitating it with the resources and funds necessary, and they've been fast to act on these deals. It's still the recruitment team that are actually going in, having the conversations, and carrying out and pursuing the deals. So while Ineos definitely deserves some of the credit, I think a lot of it needs to go to the recruitment team as well, because last summer, they've really been on it and shown a whole lot of ambition in bringing in the top talents in the country, really. So it's amazing to see.
It's what you want to see from Manchester United.
Absolutely.
And also, we have to have those considerations with PSR and everything. You can't just go out and keep buying sort of ready-made players for 70, 80, 90 million quid. Those days seem to be almost over.
Yeah, I think Jim Ratcliffe, he mentioned he doesn't want to buy Mbappe, he wants to find the next Mbappe.
Yeah.
And I think everything about United's more recent recruitment strategy kind of demonstrates that. So it's really positive to see, definitely.
One player that caused a bit of a stir when he joined in the summer, probably out of all the youngsters, the one that was the most spoken about and had the most hype, was of course Chido Obi-Martin, who came from Arsenal with a big reputation. Before we get into talking about him though, what's going on with the ratification? Because people are still waiting, asking what's the latest.
Yeah, so I think in the last week we've got confirmation on James Overy and Lusi's approval processes. Basically, what happens with all of these deals at the academy level is they all have to go through a Premier League ratification process. So essentially, the Premier League requests digital traces, so emails, WhatsApp messages from everyone involved in the deal to make sure that there's been no kind of foul play, no malpractice, and kind of no tapping up. Right. So it's a very kind of long-winded, thorough process. The expectation is that Chido Obi-Martin's approval will happen in the next week or so. That's the hope, but it's impossible to tell really until it's done. But yeah, they just have to go through and make sure there's been no tapping up, nothing kind of untoward. Yeah, I think we could say. But yeah, I think that shouldn't take too long now, and hopefully soon that approval will come through and he'll be able to start training and featuring for the academy side. So yeah.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed there was nothing, untoward, like you said, and if there was, just chuck your phone in the sea like Rebecca Vardy did.
That's the way to do it.
What can you tell us about Chido Obi-Martin then? Because this is the player that I think even those of us who aren't as, followers the academy like you do, we heard a lot about this kid and it seemed like a very exciting signing, obviously, for when he joins Manchester United.
Yeah, definitely probably the most highly anticipated player out of anyone we've brought in, maybe alongside Sakone. But yeah, he looks just kind of a phenomenal striker, to be honest. He became, I'll be very clear in saying I'm not saying he is as good as him. Yeah. But he was almost like the Haaland of academy football last season.
Okay, so you're not saying, obviously, you're not saying he's as good as Haaland.
Definitely not.
What you're saying is he's probably a little bit better.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Right now. If you had to put them side by side, you're taking Chido Obi-Martin.
Of course, that stands to reason. No, but it's obviously when you even hear those that, like mentioned in that breath, obviously it's an exciting player. Yeah. A lot of clubs were looking at. Arsenal obviously didn't want to let him go.
Yeah,
and Manchester United got him.
They even went as far as putting him in a face-to-face talk with Mikel Arteta. So this was a player that the club really didn't want to let go of. There was also interest from overseas, from Bayern Munich, Dortmund, City were interested again as well. So it's amazing to see United beating that competition and kind of convincing the best talents to join the project and kind of invest in the future of the club. And yeah, as a player, last season it became a case of not if he's going to score, but how many he's going to score. Yeah. It became routine for him to turn up and score 4 or 5. I think it was 32 goals, 3 assists, in 20 under-18 Premier League.
It's ridiculous.
And he wasn't starting every game. He averaged a goal every 47 minutes in the league. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. And we have to temper our expectations. We're yet to see him play much under-21 football, and obviously first team is a whole different kettle of fish. So, we can talk about the goal-scoring records, but, he also should be given the time to kind of gradually be eased in like the other players. But yeah, definitely a really exciting one. And he's not just a goal scorer as well. He's got a lot of technical attributes. He can hold the ball up well. He's a good dribbler, and he's very quick. Yeah. So yeah, just another very exciting signing. And I think he could potentially leapfrog some of the strikers, maybe on a physicality basis. Yeah. So there's rumours that he's going to be kind of viewed as that third choice striker behind Højlund and Xerxes going into the season. So yeah, it's going to be
this season.
that's what the media's been saying. So we'll have to see what happens. But it's definitely another really exciting one.
Says a lot if Arsenal pulled out all the stops and got Mikel Arteta to chat to him. It feels a little bit similar to what we did with Jude Bellingham. You remember when we sort of, I think he met Fergie and Eric Cantona. We took him to Carrington and we showed him round. In the end, he chose Dortmund. So the fact you've got clubs like Dortmund, like Bayern Munich, like Arsenal, obviously. Trying to either keep hold of
rolling out the red carpet,
get this player signed, and he's chosen Manchester United is a testament to some of the good work that's going on behind the scenes. And I can't wait to see this kid, and hopefully he can get ratified sooner rather than later. And those WhatsApp messages will be fine. Won't be anything to worry about. Another player that didn't have an equal amount of hype, but a lot of people were talking about Sakone. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, so obviously a bit more of an unknown quantity, even with me. I watched him last year at the Under-17 World Cup, where he was with Mali, his national team, and he looks like a really high quality midfielder, to be honest. Top performances against the heavyweights in Argentina, Spain, France. Didn't look one bit out of place. That whole Mali side actually were punching well above their weight, and it was really impressive to see how they were competitive with these European and South American giants. But yeah, he's quite defensive minded in nature. He's got that kind of mature temperament that we see in Mainu, not quite to the same degree obviously, because no one does, but strong decision making, an intelligent midfielder, and he's got those strong kind of technical attributes. So he can dribble, he's got a good passing range, and he's got the physicality and the athleticism to make recoveries. He's strong in duels. So yeah, it looks like a well-rounded midfielder, and I think it's been said that he's going to be playing initially with the under-21s, kind of similar to what we saw with Ahmad when he joined the club. And he's going to be given plenty of time to come up to the fitness levels, because like Overy and some of the other players, he hasn't played in months. With all the processes going on, he hasn't had the chance to actually get any game time. So I think there needs to be a lot of patience with all the players coming in, because it's going to take a while for them to get up to speed, but definitely great investments for the future. And he's another one. I'm told it was a very difficult deal to get done, actually. Lots of competition from the Red Bull clubs, which is kind of on theme with their recruitment in those African areas. So yeah, just another amazing deal. It's really, really exciting.
I think it was your tweets I saw about him actually that made me think, okay, that looks like a player that sort of United should be going for, should be trying to bring in that young midfielder in that role that we've often struggled in as well. And like you said, it's not just about going out, is it, and getting the manual guys. You want ones for the future. And Ratcliffe mentioned that in his sort of pitch to the press about what his plans for United.
Well, I'm not sure if this is completely fair, but I said at the time, it feels like we've just signed Manuel Ugarte and his replacement in the same week.
Right.
Because they're very different players, and I think they could end up playing together. It's so great to have those kind of tiered, layered levels of recruitment. Because Ugarte is not old, he's got years ahead of him. But you're bringing in a 23-year-old midfielder and an 18-year-old midfielder, and then there'll be players in the lower age groups who will also end up making the step up. So to have that kind of reliable flow, kind of conveyor belt of high quality players in these positions, it's just going to benefit the club amazingly well, and it's so much more sustainable in terms of a recruitment strategy than maybe we've seen in the past, where we failed to get our first targets and then sign a 30-year-old, 35-year-old or something who's past his prime. I think those days are gone, and under Ineos we're going to see a lot more kind of youth integration and focus on bringing those young players through and really building the team around them. So
it's so good to hear that, because you're right, it's a frustrating part of sort of life post Alex Ferguson, is we sort of go through this never-ending cycle of, like you're saying, signing 34-year-old strikers, or especially when, you mentioned Coney midfielder in the midfield department before, where it's like Michael Carrick's sort of retiring, so we bring in a 29-year-old Man United or whatever, or 28-year-old player, and then he needs replacing in a few years' time or whatever. So having this sort of forward planning in place and going for the top talent as well, not just bringing in anyone.
No, if a player's been signed for United's academy, now the assumption is that they are one of the best in their age group.
Yep.
You know, they're there for a reason, and they're there because the club believe that they can play a role for the future. So none of the players that are coming in, you know, 4th or 5th choice, he's all right, he'll do a job. You know, none of that anymore. It's all about bringing in the top talents in the country who can really play a role in the future.
Love that. Great to hear. Any more for any more?
Yes. Well, players-wise, no, actually. No.
Anything else you want to discuss?
Yeah. Well, I think just credit to the recruitment team, to be honest, because you know, under Nick Cox, there's been kind of an overhaul in the whole strategy. Luke Fedorenko, the head of academy recruitment, the work over the summer that they've done has just been incredible, and it's going to serve the club so well in the next few years. So I think they deserve a whole lot of credit, where maybe they haven't been getting it with Ineos getting all the headlines for bringing these players in.
Yeah.
And like I said, they deserve part of the credit because unlike in previous years where the scouting has been fine but the recruitment hasn't been, Ineos are now facilitating those deals and allowing them to happen. So that's great to see. But, you know, the real hard work is being done by those, you know, like I said, Luke Fedorenko and the people working under him. They're doing an amazing job. And I think they deserve a lot of the credit, to be honest. I think what we've seen is that it seems like they're taking a more kind of aggressive approach, really becoming, you know, competitive with the top sides. Yeah, it's just fantastic to see. It's really, really encouraging for the future, and I think fans should be excited about what it means for the direction of the club, because these are players that might not play a big role in the next 2 or 3 years. They might not hear about them much, but it goes without saying that we've talked about 4 or 5 players today. The likelihood is maybe none of them make it, maybe one of them does, maybe all of them do.
Yeah.
You can never know, but having that kind of sustainable approach to youth recruitment is always going to, you know, end up in kind of a more sustainable outcome. And as we've seen, Mainu, Garnacho kind of leading the way for youth recruitment in recent years, and I think it's only going to continue. So yeah, just fantastic to see, definitely.
It's great to see. Like you said, in the past we've heard that United have been linked with players.
Yeah.
And we've scouted them, but we've missed out on them.
Well, that's the thing.
But
yeah.
now we're really going for it. You said there's an aggressive approach
Yeah.
to try and get these deals done.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. And hopefully, we'll see it, you know, continue and see some of these players making an impact in the first team in the near future.
Yeah, I think it's important to emphasise that the scouting has never been the issue, really.
Yeah.
We've always been aware of these top players, always held an interest, but never had the means to really pursue the deals. So yeah, there's been vast scouting coverage across the country and abroad, and it's just so exciting that now that can kind of finally be capitalised on, and yeah, it's great to see.
Lovely. Nice to have a bit of positivity.
Definitely.
Thanks for that, Finn. Always a pleasure chatting to you. We're going to be chatting to you every week for an Academy review.
Yes.
Go and check out Finn, Academy Scoop on Twitter, or X if you want to call it that. You know what? You should be following him by now. He's the guy. He's the go-to guy for all the Academy stuff. So make sure you're checking him out. Don't forget, if you're not doing already, to hit like, share and subscribe. That's been Finn. I've been Jay. This has been Academy Review. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much.